Welcome to the Cash Bar, Diane. We're in my Cash Bar.
This is a new Cash Bar.
It's a totally new Cash Bar. We're out of the Cash Bar studio and here in what Bob Biggerstaff calls my Verizon wireless house.
It's pretty nice.
It does really I never thought of it that way before, but I'm looking at the background now, like with all the white and everything like that. It does look like a coffee commercial house.
It's very bright, unlike the dungeon that I like to record in with my lights.
Hey, we're hosting a Cash Bar. We're doing a rock and roll podcast.
Yes.
A podcast about popular music.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question for you.
Oh God.
You smoke a little pot?
When I say little, I mean I like a one hit and I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I smoke at night when I'm like done with the day.
Yeah.
Like when it's definitely time, when I'm just jumping on the off button. Like I'm checking out and I have to ask permission. Like I have to ask my girlfriend, like, is it okay if I get high? Because that means that I'm just going to be like incommunicado.
Oh, like we're done talking for the night.
Like I'm going to be unreachable. See you in the morning.
Okay. That's nice.
I hope nothing bad happens during the night.
Well, I don't want to be rude, but I think sometimes she's like, yeah, it's time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you start smoking in the middle of the day?
Yeah,
I'm sick of listening to you.
Yeah, she's like, let's do this.
Like, sew your mouth shut, I would.
Yeah.
She smokes all day long though.
Oh.
And
yeah,
she's added Adderall into the mix.
Starting like just recently?
Yeah, just recently.
Oh.
And pot and Adderall, I don't think that that's a real good idea for anybody to do.
Well, so okay, does she need Adderall? Does she have adult ADHD? Okay, because that is different.
Yeah.
People who need it, it just makes them focus. I took Adderall once and I was pregnant and I didn't know it. And it was like I took meth. It was bad. Yeah.
This just makes her like, she'll get high and then she'll take Adderall and it just makes her focus on whatever like mystery is tripping through her high brain.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I
So
mean?
she's just like undoing knots and stuff,
but
like meth.
Yes.
Okay.
Latching onto it like a puppy with a chew toy, and you end up like having conversations that end with like, I don't know why blue is my favorite color. I don't.
This is fun.
And I bought a blue car. I painted my bathroom blue for reasons that I can't explain to you.
Is this fun for you?
It's not fun for me.
Oh.
No. I mean, it's fun overall. Like it leads to fun. It makes me giggle afterwards. But sometimes in the middle of it, you're like, this is getting intense.
Oh my God. Is she going to keep doing it?
I think
Does
so.
She like it?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it gets the job done. It
Okay.
definitely turns into a taskmaster. The house is very clean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if my house ever stopped being clean, I might have to pick it up. I have to have a clean house. So yeah, I would have to do that.
Should we record an episode on meth? I've never smoked meth. I don't even know what meth smells like. We've talked about that before.
Is there a famous song or singer that is known of because of meth?
Okay, we'll have to find one.
Tell us, write in, let us know if you know.
And also, if you open up your phone and go through your contact list, if you were looking for meth, is there somebody in your phone that you would call? Like, who would be like the first text message? Like, I got a weird question for you.
I think I could find it.
I'm sure I could find it. I don't know who I would call first. Like, I don't know which bush I would beat right off the top.
I have some ideas.
Oh wait, no, I absolutely do. No, I know exactly where I would go and who I would be looking for. Yeah, no, I could find it in a heartbeat. I'm sure if we decide to do a meth episode, we're not doing a meth episode.
It has to tie strongly to the song.
I have every other vice. I don't need to find out if I got that one. I don't need to know.
I don't want.
What if we do it and we like it?
No, don't do it. I mean, I know I would like heroin, so that's why I don't do heroin. There's no success stories.
Are you saving it for later? Like after Charlie's all grown up? Like it's time.
Deathbed maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm in like some horrible pain and disease and morphine's just not enough, I'd be like, I'm gonna find that number in your phone.
Yeah, give me the drugs. This is good coffee talk.
I know. This is cheers.
Cheers.
Then, I don't know how we're going to segue this into the wonderful John Prine.
We don't need to segue. Throw the segues out the window. We are doing John Prine today. It's our second John Prine episode because John Prine has a very close place in your family.
Yes. This was a Patreon, not vote, but my father-in-law, Charlie Gallagher Sr., is we drew his name last month for Patreon. This is shaking every time we write. Oh God. Sorry, people watching, it might shake a little bit. And I knew when we drew his name, we were going to be doing a John Prine song. And John Prine is very important in our family. Like I said last week, when Corban was a baby in his high chair, his dad would pull out the guitar and sing John Prine songs to him. And then John Prine died last year of COVID. And it shook Corban. It shook the Gallaghers because they're huge fans. And so we knew that we wanted to do at least once on this whole podcast a John Prine song. We might come back and do another one because there's another John Prine song that Corban and I consider our wedding song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like our song. So, yeah.
My family's like that, but with John Denver.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when John Denver died he crashed his own plane.
Yeah.
I walked in, this was years after John Denver died. I walked into a Walgreens and Leaving on a Jet Plane was playing inside there. And I had to leave because I was honestly I was choked up. Like my eyes, I wasn't crying, but my eyes were definitely watering. And I was like, I can't explain to anybody that I can't imagine what it's like to be John Denver's family and have that song out there.
I know.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. I hate to see you like, oh. God.
It's too foreshadowy in the worst way. It's really sad.
Hey. This might be a sad episode because the song that we're doing is called Bruised Orange, Chain of Sorrow.
Thanks, Charlie Gallagher, for bringing it down emotionally. It's a good song. I think the message at the end, what he's trying to say is going to be very positive, but it's a sad story.
He's got some funny turns of phrases in here, but it is a sad story. So this one's going to get heavy, everybody. Trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
Should we get to the lyrics?
Yeah.
My heart's in the ice house, come hill or come valley. Like a long ago Sunday when I walked through the alley on a cold winter's morning to a church house just to shovel some snow.
This is Bruised Orange, Chain of Sorrow by John Prine. My heart's in the ice house, come hill or come valley. I like that one because it's like a double meaning right off the top. Like, and is he just saying like my heart is in the ice house, like literally my heart is cold and frosty, or is he saying like no, my heart's in the ice house, the beer hall?
I went the first way, like my heart is cold and depressed with the highs and with the lows. Like no matter what happens, I'm depressed. I'm bitter and cold.
I'm cold all the time. I could see it that way, but it's anyway. Like a long ago Sunday when I walked through the alley on a cold winter's morning to a church house just to shovel some snow. So John Prine, when he was a kid, when he was like 12 or 13 years old, had a job shoveling snow and doing basically like labor around a church. As he says, he would be like waxing the crosses and shoveling the snow and dusting the pews for $50 a month, which he ended up using to buy his first guitar.
Right, which is a really cool story. Do we get to the pews thing down here? Okay, we'll talk about that.
I heard sirens on the train track, howl naked, getting neuter. Love that line.
That's
howl naked, getting neuter. Like I am underlining that and stealing it from John Prine. I don't know how I'm going to work it into regular conversation.
I don't know how you are either.
Yeah, we're going to try.
I actually am like, is this slang that I don't get? How is the siren getting neuter? Like sirens undress as they get closer to you? Is that what's happening?
I just like, because it probably started as like a very straightforward sentence. Like I heard sirens on the train track howling loud and getting louder. You know, like that, it's the same idea, but John Prine, the poet, is going to sit there and go, that's not good enough. Like you can't use the cliche. You can't just come right out and say it. You got to, how you doing, Ben? I'm howling naked and getting neuter. Yeah.
That's how you're going to
I can do it 27 times a day.
What I love about John Prine is, you know, some people sing one way and then you hear them in interviews and they sound different. He sings exactly the way he speaks. Like when you see interviews with him, it's almost like when he's just talking, giving an interview, you could just start strumming a guitar behind him because that's what his songs sound like. He just talks like this.
That's what I love about like all the interviews with rock stars that we've been watching. Like I really like the sound of that voice. Like a voice that's used 200 nights a year for 30 years has that real rich soulfulness to it, even when they're speaking. I mean, I heard people complain about vocal fry and things like that. Like now I love it. I love vocal fry.
Yeah. I mean, people just complain these days about everything.
Oh, there's a rhyme here, so we got to do it. I heard sirens on the train track, howl naked, getting neuter. An altar boy's been hit by a local commuter.
I mean,
like, ow. Like, ow. It's both things. Like, it's like, I don't know how he can have a couplet that it does both things to me. Like, it hits me right in the heart. Like, oh, I don't want to see a kid hit by a train, but it's also rhyming neuter with commuter.
That's why we have neuter. I didn't put it together. He wanted to call the train a local commuter. And maybe he had train first, and he's like, well, that doesn't flow.
Yeah.
Commuter. All right, neuter is going in. I see what he did here. This is really good.
But it's amazing that it can do both things. Like, there's grim humor that's like, ha, ha, ha. This one is both at the exact same time. Like, I don't even know how to make the sound that I feel in my heart when I hear that couple. It's just like, hey, what's a sad laugh?
And I like the attention to detail in the description. He didn't just say a young boy. I don't even know the age of the boy. It's like I never understood the age of the boy. Is it a teenage boy? Is it or altar boy? I guess is always going to be pretty young. But it's important for you to know that. So he was saying the only kids awake. It was really, really early, and the only kids awake at this time are kids with like paper routes, a job like his, sweeping, shoveling snow off the stairs, or altar boys. Right. And they're all basically, these children are going to work is what's happening in this like song.
Chicago street snipes on their way to keep the city together.
Yeah.
Just walking with his back turned to the train that was coming so slow. Hey, you got to think that he must have been fucking around with the train a little bit.
Okay, so listen, trains are loud.
Yeah.
This kid wasn't deaf. You know the train's coming. I don't think he was walking with his back slow, not paying attention. The conductor sees him, most likely. It's blowing. The trains are loud. They vibrate the tracks. I think the kid was playing.
Yeah, he must have been messing around with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the last time you watched the Meanwhile in Russia videos that were big on the internet like 10 years ago?
I don't know if I saw any of those.
You have never seen any of the Meanwhile in Russia videos?
I don't think so.
I just took 45 minutes of your life away.
Oh shit.
They're great. Like, they're just wild.
Is it just life in Russia?
Crazy. Like whatever you can imagine, it's so much worse. It's like kids skateboarding on the edges of buildings, climbing power towers. There's some like whatever Russian version of crystal meth it is, just makes people do crazy things.
They're like parkouring in dangerous places and stuff.
Insane ways. Like, I can't even describe to you how. There was the one that reminds me of, there was a. So they're playing chicken with the train, but the way that they would play chicken with the train is they would lie down in the middle of the tracks and just let the train go over them. Okay. Yeah. So terrifying, but it's Russia. So it goes to the next level. So the game that these kids are playing and filming, that you're just like, your heart is in your mouth watching it because you're sure you're about to watch a human being get mangled. The kid's lying flat on his back under the train track, or as the train is going over it. So you see the wheels and you get a feel of just how heavy and how loud this train is. And the wheels are going by every like 2.5 seconds, right? But you can see that the kid is trying to time it because he's going to roll out from under the train. Like he does it like it, but you spend like 2 minutes watching it. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. This is just stay where you are. The safest place you could be right now is under that fucking train. Anything else you do is madness.
I hate children's prefrontal cortex. Not developed enough, and they don't understand risk and reward in the way that adults do after the age of 25. There's a lot of research on that. Fucking did I tell you about how I got hit by a bus in kindergarten?
You got hit by a bus?
My own school bus. So here's the thing. We'll get back to these lyrics. Here's the thing. The story I've told my whole life, I don't know if it actually happened. It's so weird how memories work. The way I remember it and the way I remember telling it is that the bus stopped at my stop and I had to get off the bus, and then all of us kids who got off had to go around the front of the bus to get to our street on the other side. So both traffic is stopped. I don't know what happened. I don't know why she hit me. I don't know if I got off the bus and tied my shoe. I don't know what happened, but as I was going in front of the bus, she went and she hit me, but she wasn't coming like full speed. She had to start the bus up, but she hit me enough. Like, I remember it hit my hip and it knocked me down. And I swear to God, she went over me and I rolled out before the second set of wheels.
Oh my God.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
As an adult, I look back and I'm like, there's no way you did that. But that's how I've always remembered it.
Right.
And that's how I've always told the story. And what I remember is we lived in a trailer park, and at the front of the trailer park where the bus stop was the house of the landlord who owned all the trailers. And he had a teenage son. And I remember him laughing.
Oh my God.
It must have looked ridiculous, like doink. Doink, like bounce this kid on the street, and then I get up and walk home. I just remember him laughing at me. But
fully shoved by the school bus.
I checked the mail because that was my job. All the mailboxes are at the front. And then I walked home, and then I swear I'm so sorry, listeners, if I've already told this story, but I walked home and I walked into our trailer, and my dad was watching baseball and my mom was on the phone, and I was a very obedient child. And I was always told, don't interrupt dad while he's watching baseball, and don't interrupt mom when she's on the phone. So I just sat at the kitchen table, like kind of like weeping. And then my mom finally like turned around and she was like, what's the matter? Why are you crying? And I was like, I just got hit by the bus. And so they're like, what? Just say something. I was like, you're on the phone. So yeah, my dad went.
What's wrong, honey? You look like you got hit by a bus.
My dad went and hunt down the bus driver. Like, long story short, I was fine. They took me to the ER. I got to ride my first wheelchair, and all I had was a huge bruise. I just remember this big purple bruise, like on my hip. Like I didn't break anything. Yeah. And our bus driver got fired, but not from driving buses. She went to another school district. She just got fired from our school district. Where I was like, she hit a kid and she's still allowed to drive a bus. She hit a kid and didn't stop. Like, was that a kid that I just hit? I hit something. It's like
literally the worst thing that could happen to you on the job. You try to skate over it.
The one thing you're not supposed to do is hit the kids. So yeah. So this Russian story where I kind of feel like part of me is like, I've done that.
I wonder if she's looking at it as like success rate. You know, she's just like, do you know how many thousands of times kids have gotten off the bus and I haven't run them over?
She's like, listen, all us bus drivers get together. We talk about this. Like, usually they don't say anything.
She gets together at whatever bar the bus drivers gather at. Like, I finally did it. I did it. I did it and it felt good.
I get it. I got a sweet little brown haired girl this time.
Oh my, hit by a bus.
Hit by a bus.
All right. So we agree this kid was fucking around with the train.
I think he was.
I'm pretty sure it was.
It's hard to just think that. I mean, listen, my kid can get like lost in his own thoughts in his head, but I would like to think he'd hear a train coming and get out of the way.
Just don't mess around on the train tracks. Haven't you seen Stand By Me? Bad things can happen.
I love that movie.
Me too. I really do.
Okay.
We could probably do a whole podcast on like the first 10 films that Rob Reiner did. I don't want to get into it. Let's stay focused.
Focus.
You can gaze out the window, get mad and get madder, throw your hands in the air, say what does it matter, but it don't do no good to get angry, so help me, I know.
You can gaze out the window, get mad and get madder, throw your hands in the air, say what does it matter, but it don't do no good, to get angry, so help me, I know.
Yeah. So there's a lot here. This is the choice some people make when terrible things happen. So God, I hate to even talk about this. If this happened to my child, so I don't know if he talks about this in the song, but in the story, when you look up this song on YouTube, you'll see him tell the story and then sing the song. And he was saying that this group of mothers, the kid was damaged so bad they couldn't identify him right away, which is gruesome and horrible. And there was a bunch of mothers gathered around because nobody knew where their kids were, because all these tiny children went to work that morning. So all these mothers were gathering around panicking because none of them knew where their kids were. And like, is this my kid that just got hit?
Yeah, and John Prine is pretty brutal when he's describing it. He says like they're taking the kid away in buckets, like they can't recognize it, like he's been mangled by the train. Like I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
And then he explains that whenever they find out whose kid it is, the mothers whose kid it wasn't, they're trying to console her, but there's so much relief in them that they can't, which is just, this is such a gruesome, horrible day for these mothers, especially one. And so when he says you can gaze out the window, get madder and madder, Corban and I always say if something like this were to happen to Charlie, we'd never recover ever. We'd just be bitter and angry the whole rest of our lives. and he is in this song trying to help that person say, you have a choice to just live in this bitterness or try to
take it away, or try to get rid of it somehow.
Right.
Which is like that's the gift that a songwriter has.
Yeah.
And I think really only a songwriter has. Like you can't, there's no other medium that's going to console those kinds of emotions the way a songwriter can.
Right.
And I think that's what John Prine is literally trying to do with this song. I think that's why he tells the story. He seems to tell the story every time he plays it live. I think it's important to him to go, this is a real thing that happened to real people in my neighborhood. And this is what I can do to make this impossible situation that little bit better.
Yeah, give you a little song, a painful song to sing and maybe wallow in it a little bit, but he also has a message of like, don't get caught here. Don't get caught in this bitterness.
Yeah, don't go to the dark side. You know, come out of this somehow, some way. It reminds me when he tells that story, and I hate to be such a dipshit, but have you ever read or seen The Right Stuff by Tom Wolfe? It's about the first, you'd love it, like because it's about the first, I can never get it right. The Gemini or the Mercury astronauts? Who were the first? The Gemini 7, the Mercury 7?
Corban would know. This is all up his alley. So
Mercury 7.
I won't make a guess because if I'm wrong.
I don't know. Either way. He spends the first chapter talking about the life of a test pilot and how they get in planes that nobody's ever flown before, and then they push them to their absolute limit. And the life of a test pilot is often quite short. Like you'll die because you're doing crazy, dangerous shit in a rocket propelled jet.
Yeah.
So this exact situation would play out on Air Force bases all over America, where there'd be like 10 test pilots flying these really dangerous jets, and there would be an accident, and it would be obvious because there would be smoke. There'd be ambulances. So then there was like all the wives would then start wondering like whose husband is this? Like whose husband is hopefully just in the hospital, but likely dead. But they got to wait for the military chaplains to come out and deliver it. But what happens is all the men have seen that there's an accident. All the pilots have seen that there's an accident. They know their families are worried. So there's like a secret race to the phones to call home and say, hey, Diane, it's not me. I'm fine. But they're not allowed to say who it is. So then the wives start playing this weird chain.
Did you get a call?
Telephone. Did you get it? So there's a process of elimination. Doug's safe, Carl's safe, David's safe. Until eventually the wives figure out like, oh, this is a bad day for Sharon. And then they have to make those phone calls. And,
don't marry a man whose job title has the word test in front of it. Are you fucking kidding me? God damn. I mean, why live like that? I can't. For the glory that he might get to be an astronaut in space, fuck that shit. Let that be someone else.
So let's see, there's test pilot, and then there's drug tester.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't just give them enough to kill them on the first try, right? Let's keep going.
Exactly.
For a heart stained in anger grows a weak and grows bitter. You'll become your own prisoner as you watch yourself sit there wrapped up in a trap of your very own chain of sorrow.
So the next verse is, for a heart stained in anger grows weak and grows bitter. You become your own prisoner as you watch yourself sit there wrapped in a trap of your very own chain of sorrow.
I mean, listen, we've all wallowed.
Oh yeah, I've never lost a kid, but I am a wallower.
Yeah.
That's just and I decided to be like, I just made up my mind. Like my heroes are brooders and wallowers. Like I wanted to be a smoldering young thinker. And I just carved that groove into my head. And now anytime something bad happens to me, it's like, oh, this is going to take me a few days. Like,
yeah. And a lot of teenagers, when, those hormones hit, and some people, I think some teenagers are better at like just, trudging through, and some are like, I'm gonna write poetry and put on black trench coat.
That's me.
Wear some dark eyeliners and staying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna milk this. I'm gonna feel my feelings, But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to that. Some kids grow up in households where you're not allowed to feel your feelings, and the parents are like, toughen up,
I was allowed to feel my feelings.
Yeah, I think I was too. I had a diary that just got the brunt of it, which was really helpful. I think some kids who aren't writers, like my son's not gonna be a writer. I can tell he's nothing like me in that way, where I'm just gonna have to let him physically feel them in the world. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that, because I've always like I don't know where I learned to do it or if I was taught to do it or how it happened, but yeah, I definitely learned to like channel my feelings into some kind of expression, you know, either like, okay, we're trying to write a book or we're going to make this thing, you know.
Some people are just geared toward that. Like my son, you know, he's like high functioning on the autism spectrum and he's more math, technology and stuff. Like maybe you can get him to type his feelings. Can you put your feelings in code? Like, I don't know. But he is learning to play guitar and he's a good singer. So I'm like, sing it.
Yeah. That's a good expression.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a thing. Like, I wonder if there's ever like a, you know, a manly man who's like, I built this fence out of love. I re-shingled this house in hatred.
Yeah, I think they do. I think physical labor is a good way. Like, yeah, when I pressure wash the driveway, I work some shit out in my head. So I think that is a thing. Think about that next time you see a guy out like sweeping his pool for 5 hours. He's working some shit out.
There's really nothing more rewarding than pressure washing.
Oh, it's the best. I need to pressure wash these bricks for a project coming up and I cannot wait to get to it.
A jackhammer is fun for all of 30 seconds. Like it looks like a really good time. Like, let's go smash up some concrete. Like, no, you get sick of that real quick, but I can pressure wash all day long.
Oh my God. That's what I got Corban for Christmas was an electric pressure washer. And I'm the only one who has used it. And it's so therapeutic. It's so great.
Do you write your name in the driveway?
Oh, I do all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff.
Perfect. I've been brought down to zero, pulled out and put back there. I sat on a park bench, kissed the girl with the black hair, and my head shouted down to my heart, you better look out below. Now that's fun.
I love this. Yeah. He's about to have like the best joy in his life. And there's that voice in his head's like, the bottom's going to fall out.
Yeah.
This is going to, he can't even enjoy the kiss because the back of his mind's like, this is going to go to shit, you know? And like, so many people do that.
This is going to go to shit. Or it's like, there's so many different ways to interpret that. Like, he could be looking at it very, you know, sadly and taking like the long view. It's like, okay, when I was 12 years old, I saw this kid get hit by a train. And now here I am, a young man, and I get to have this moment. I get to have this kiss with this beautiful girl, which is making me feel a certain way. And is he looking back on it and going, I'm lucky to be here. I shouldn't be here, but for the, you know, like I could just as easily have been squashed by a train.
Yeah.
Like, is he looking back in that kind of regret? Or is he wondering like you were saying, like in the future, like, well, this will lead to, maybe it might lead to us starting our own family and then having this tragedy? It's like, dude,
there's a lot here.
Yeah. It's like, is he asking like, because there's the potential for tragedy, does that mean that you should just live in the ice house?
Right. And I think a lot of people do have that fear when a lot of people grow up and they don't see a lot of horrible things happen. And then for some reason, other kids have worse luck and they've seen so many terrible things happen. And those people grow to like, they can't appreciate when something good happens to them. They're like, it's just going to go away. And something good happens. And I think the message he keeps trying to put out in the song is like, don't do that. Don't be that way. Yeah. Don't
let the bastards grind you down.
Yeah.
Seems to be the real message to it. But there's also there's kind of a subtle joke in here too, where he says, my head shut it down to my heart. You better look out below. What's below the heart, Diane?
Your pee-pee.
Yes.
Sorry, I said pee-pee. I'm having an issue with Charlie lately. He's very proud of his pee-pee and he's constantly pulling it out and he thinks it's funny. And it is funny. Like I was changing his clothes the other day and he's such a spaz and he was like like hopping around on both feet. And I was like, let's get your underwear on. He's like, but I like the way my pee-pee feels when I'm slapping. And I was like, yes, Corban. Like, I don't know. Like, you don't want to like give him a what's the word? A complex. But I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it's fun. But I'm also like,
you don't want to encourage him, but you don't want to give him shame either.
It's you don't know what to do as a mother. I'm just like, that's great. Can we please put your on? And then I was reading to, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm going off on pee-pee. I'll get right back to the lyrics. I was reading to him last night and he was really, it's like the kid gets it injected with meth around 8:00 at night, every night. Like he doesn't nap all day. He's hardcore all day. And then right at night, it's like someone gives him one last shot of adrenaline. And I'm like, we're supposed to be going to bed. So he's trying so hard to relax his body. I was like, stop kicking me. Like I'm trying to read him a book. And all of a sudden I notice he's doing something weird. And I look at his face and he's looking at me like, and I'm like, what? And I look down and he's got his pants pulled down. He's flashing me. I was like, no, sir. What is happening? So there's been a lot of like, put your pee-pee away talk in my house lately.
Boys are just born dirty. I don't know. I don't know how to apologize
Corban's
for it.
just like, listen, it's there and it's fun. You'd play with it too if you had it. I'm just like, all right, fine. I don't know what to do. You better look out below.
Oh, hey, it ain't such a long drop. Don't stammer, don't stutter. From the diamonds in the sidewalk to the dirt in the gutter, and carry those bruises to remind you wherever you go.
I mean, John, this is great.
Hey, it ain't such a long drop. Don't stammer, don't stutter. From the diamonds in the sidewalk to the dirt in the gutter.
Yeah, you're going to be okay. It's not, most of these drops won't kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them will.
Some of them will. If you're a kid walking on a train track.
If you're messing around on a train track, you're going to get it. I didn't see someone get hit by a train, but I felt the echoes of it. I was working downtown, and in the morning, someone got hit by the commuter train that runs on Main Street.
Yeah.
And that can happen because we're not used to seeing it. It's not very loud.
It's not loud. Yeah. And there's a lot of hobos. Was it a hobo?
I don't know.
Okay.
But there's definitely a lot of people that try to just like, oh, I can make it past, and try to sprint and run. Like I say, I didn't see it, but by the time I got down, I was bartending, so I was there like 2 or 3 in the afternoon to open up, and it was like it had all been cleaned up. There was no fire or medical or anything like that left there, but with the street people and everybody out, like you could still feel the vibration. It was all anyone was talking about.
Yeah.
It was just like everybody wanted to say, I saw this, I saw that. Everybody was processing the trauma together. Some of the street people were using it as like, this is their hook for the day, like I saw a person die today, give me $1.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
But I mean, it just like, that's just the way that people work. Like if something that horrible happens and everybody sees it, then we have to communicate it in order to process it.
Yeah.
It was really strange to me that just hours after that, it was still like, it was unmistakable. Like as soon as I got on the street, it was just like, something's weird, something feels weird. And then before long, you find out exactly what it was.
Oh my God, I just remember this. Do you remember? Okay, so Crazy Kroger in Houston and Montrose just got torn down. I won't go into this story. Everybody who lives here knows, and it's sad. It's over.
It's Disco Kroger.
Disco Kroger. I think we called you once. Corban and I used to live right by it, and right next to it on a high-rise building, there was a woman standing on a parking garage.
Yeah, because I went to go see it.
Do you remember? I was like, and I'm talking about the way that we call people and we talk to people. I was like, and I don't know why I did this, and I don't know why I called you. I was like, Ben, I think someone's gonna jump, and you were like, I'm coming. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with us?
I think you were throwing a party or something like that, and people like everybody was on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember like because I was kind of a shitty person who just wanted to go see things just to see them.
I am too. I was morbid.
I don't think anybody else came with me, but I do remember just going, oh, I'm definitely going to go see that. And
because she was only like 4 stories up, but she was standing on this like pedestal, and I think she was obviously on drugs, and she was kind of like dancing and sway and acting really weird, and everybody at the ground was like, she's gonna fall. Yeah. Like I don't think she was suicidal. I think she was.
Oh, she was threatening suicide. Like she was definitely. Yeah, she was definitely threatening to jump, and I hate to admit it, but there was a crowd of foul-hearted people just like myself who had gathered just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Of course, most of us were shouting up to her, just like, go back, get off the ledge, get off the ledge. But there was a reason that we were there, and I don't think it was there to save a life. Like, I think if everybody's being honest, like it was just like something horrible is going to happen. I want to go see something horrible happen.
Oh, I mean, there's no way I would have watched her go all the way to the ground. I would have screamed. I would have been like, why did I do this? But then that would have been the thing we talked about all day. I wouldn't have been asking like, give me $1, but it's a way for us to be like, we had this human experience that was horrible, And
it's so weird that I would be compelled to go do that, because I know that if she had jumped and I had seen it, then I would hate myself for going to see it. Like I wouldn't be able to get that image out of my head.
It's why we rubberneck. Like there was traffic coming over here today, and it looked like a bad wreck. And I always tell myself, like, don't look. Yeah. Don't look. Like if you see it and it's bad, it's gonna ruin your day. But fucking look every time. Your day
or your whole life. Like it could, like something like that can really, really stay with you. It can. How does John Prine put it? It can stain your heart in anger. I don't know why I did that. I totally forgot.
I don't know why I called you. You must have been on the way over, and I was being like, "We're not there. We're here looking at this." We must have like gone to the grocery store to get something because you were coming over. We have so many segues in this. God, this song is just bringing out so many stories.
One of the things that I really like about this song is the line, "For a heart stained in anger grows weak and grows bitter," because usually, like, this song is about struggling with your own inner darkness. It's like how do you stay off of the how do you stay out of your brooding side? And I think usually when you talk to men, particularly older men, about that sort of thing, we get defensive and we're not really honest with ourselves or who we're talking about, because like I've heard, like I'm a bartender, so I've talked to lots of guys who say, oh, I used to get drunk a lot and I would get in fights for fun and all this stuff, but I've made myself a better person. But like everything that they talk about making themselves better, everything that they're running away from could be interpreted as a strength, you know, like, oh, you're the big, strong, tough guy who was fighting everybody all the time. Right. It's just like, oh, I used to cheat on my wife all the time, but I've become a better person. Like, oh, you used to, you know, women used to find you very, very attractive, but you decided to put that behind you.
Just say you can't pull what you used to pull.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. But it's that kind of thing. Like even when men are talking about the improvements that they've made, they're talking about improving from something that could be interpreted as good.
Right.
Like it's very rare for a guy like John Prine's age to admit that the reason why you want to improve and you want to get better is because you detest the weakness in yourself. Right. Like nobody's running from their strengths.
Right.
Like,
exactly. No, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Like it's not like the guy who's sleeping around all the time. It's not like he's not running away from feeling attractive and feel like you're like, no, he's running away from being a liar, from being deceitful. Like,
that's from hurting people.
That's what he is. And the guy who stopped getting in fights for fun didn't stop fighting for what he thinks is right or standing up for himself. He got tired of losing. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh no, you break your nose enough times. Like, okay, well, how about we find a different mode of dispute resolution? You
know, my friends don't want to hang out with or go to bars with me anymore because apparently I do this. Losing friends. Yeah.
John Prine fascinates. I don't know him very well, but he's definitely the sort of figure that fascinates me. Like John Prine, Chris Christopherson, John Denver, Leonard Cohen. You know, like the singer-songwriter guys kind of walk out of the mist in a way that only a singer-songwriter can. Yeah. Like I was thinking, like actors that I like, and obviously I really love movies in the theater, but they're trapped on the screen. Yeah. You know, a comedian is trapped on the stage. You know, right. But a singer-songwriter is sitting in the bar next to you. You know, he's on the train next to you. He's like I
don't know, a comedian can be too sometimes. Sometimes I think there's a little more crossover with comedy, but yeah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah, like Bob Dylan, despite the fact that he's Bob Dylan, and it's just singers, like, because the band, like you're playing in the stadium, now you're removed, you're not human, you're a rock god, right? Yeah. But John Prine on stage with his guitar is just a dude telling you a thing that he's learned. You know, he's feeling something at you, and like actors can do it. They can communicate in that moment. They can show you like a different side of grief or a different way of looking at things. But singer-songwriters can absolutely capture it and go, this is what it is. This is what it feels like. Here's how you deal with it.
And it's the best, like, you know, actors, sometimes they are acting out something someone else has written, that a writer has written. But with singer-songwriters, like this song, this is his story to tell. And like, it just, I don't understand people who don't love singer-songwriters and would rather listen to produce pop music. I don't know. I mean, how do you not connect to this, to singer-songwriters? I mean, I just love it. I love folk singers. I love this. I love, and I mean, when you watch John Prine, like there's no way you couldn't. Yeah, it's really good stuff. And I understand why Corban's dad loves it so much. Okay, where do we stop? Does he start repeating a bunch of stuff, or do we still have more lyrics?
No, that's the end of it.
That's pretty much it, right?
That's it.
My heart's in the ice now to shovel some snow. Well, he doesn't say chain of sorrow. Did we get to that? Did we say wrapped up? Yeah, we did. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's pretty much all the lyrics to Bruised Orange. The only thing that I wrote, we decided not to go do a deep, long history of John Prine. Maybe we'll do that at another time, but I don't know. I think most people know, and there was just so much to the song. We both didn't want to get bogged down in just like Wikipedia history of John Prine. But yeah, this is just a true story about him being a kid and going to work one day as a kid. My God, my son is 7. I can't fathom him being responsible enough to walk to the end of my driveway without getting hit by a car. Like I can't imagine the life of these people. But let's see, in my notes, I wrote down, as a mom of a young boy, this whole song makes me want to vomit. Thanks, Charlie Gallagher. But we can focus more on the part where he starts talking about how you deal with life after tragedy and that feeling of what does it matter, and anger and fear, and John's positive urging to not become a prisoner in your own bitterness, the trap of your own chain of sorrow. I feel like this is one of those things that's probably easier said than done.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
like I've so far I've had a life blessedly free of major trauma.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I haven't spent many a long night crying into my beer.
Yeah. This level of trauma,
Mm.
I'm just like, you know, it's also at the same flip side of the coin when you hear of someone who, say, the mother of this child who never pulls out of it, you give her grace and you're kind of like, yeah, but I get it.
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, I'm sure she's had some good moments and some good days, but it's also sometimes just allow her to live that life of grieving because, you know, that's just how her life is going to be now.
Sometimes I've had friends who have gone through some shit, and apparently this is my Capricorn in me.
Okay.
I get accused of that by the witches. It's like the Capricorns, apparently we want to solve problems.
Yeah.
So I'll come in and I'll have, like, you know, my version of trying to comfort somebody is to give them the solution or give them the strategy.
A lot of just men and people in general do that, but yeah,
I don't think it's a Capricorn thing.
Yeah.
It's just a certain type of personality. But like the reaction that I would always get would be just like, don't try to solve this problem.
Yeah.
You can't solve it.
Yeah.
Just sit with me.
Just sit with me and let me feel it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I've had to learn that in therapy because even though I'm a woman and that's what I want when I'm crying, I just want comforting and listening. But when one of my friends would have a problem, I would try to solve. And I'm like, what am I doing? I know better than this. And it's something I had to learn not to do. Yeah. Or I would just not sit in the feeling of it. And I would just try to like break it down logically. And my therapist would be like, don't stop trying to make sense of it. Just sit in it, you know,
or learn that emotional logic is different from logic.
Yeah. It was a lot to learn.
The emotions make their own sense.
And your friends trust you more when you can do that with them. If someone's hurting, if you're constantly trying to dismiss them or try to make them laugh, which was my MO.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, I talk about this and they're like, no, I like it when you make me laugh. And I was like, but honestly, it is dismissive of your pain. Like, let me sit in your pain with you first. And then if I have a little joke, I may throw one in. And then like, if it doesn't hit, I'll say, I'm sorry. Let's just sit in more pain. But I'm learning. It's a skill that I am having to practice. It's a practice for me to not try to, because like, I want to dismiss pain. I'm like, no, let's not feel pain. And I've had to learn like, no, it's important. You should feel pain.
God, it's amazing how like your emotions can lift you up or they can totally drag you down. Like it's so much easier to solve someone else's problems, right? Like there's been so many times where we're talking to a friend, it's like, well, don't do this, do it like that. Yeah. I'm like, well, like I've got problems in my own life that I can't solve. And the reason I can't solve them because I'm dealing with the feelings. Like I'm the one carrying the weight of that. Yeah. Like it's very easy for a friend of mine to go, don't do it like this, do it like that. Yeah.
There's still diamonds. Don't look at the dirt in the gutter. And we're just like, I am hurting. Yeah. I can't see diamonds. What fucking diamonds are you looking at? Yeah.
There are no diamonds in the sky any longer.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Let's see what Jeremy Essig has to say.
Look at us. We're just like on the same page. 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson with Jeremy Essig. Let's see.
Hey friends, welcome to another edition of 6 Degrees, where I've actually already had the pleasure of connecting Tommy to John Prine for Charlie when I was visiting Houston last month. That connection, however, went through Jason Isbell, and since we looked at Jason Isbell last week, let's instead turn to one of John Prine's final collaborations, a duet with Philly indie rock guitarist and singer Kurt Vile. The two trade verses on a cover of Prine's song How Lucky, which would be featured late last year on Vile's EP, Speed, Sound, Lonely KV. Vile would also be credited as a producer on the newest Dinosaur Jr. album, Sweepin' Into Space, which came out last month. Originating from the fairly incestuous 80s Boston music scene, two members of Dinosaur Jr., both guitarist Jay Mascis and drummer Murph, would also play at points with the Lemonheads, a band that in stretches also featured bass from Juliana Hatfield. Hatfield would years later be part of the I Don't Cares, a one-off project featuring Hatfield and Paul Westerberg, whose album Wild Stab would be released 6 months after the last performance of the Replacements' Back by Unpopular Demand tour that reunited Westerberg with Tommy Stinson. And yes, that is a picture of myself and Tommy taken in Raleigh last weekend during his Cowboys in the Campfire tour. He's currently out doing small room shows with his friend Chip, if you'd care to check them out. So this week we went John Prine to KV to Dinosaur Jr. to the Lemonheads to the I Don't Cares back to Tommy Stinson. And in case it matters, when I met Tommy, he hugged me as opposed to Westerberg, who just mocked me. All right, back to Diet in Bed. Hi, Charlie.
So did you not see that?
I saw it, but I don't know why it didn't register.
Yeah. So I asked him, he said like he was going through and like kind of shaking hands with everybody, like, hi, thank you. But when he got to him, like he did more, like he hugged him and he said something. I was like, does he know what you do? And he was like, I think he might. Like they didn't talk about it. He said he kind of seemed like he was in a bad mood, like maybe the sound at the concert wasn't good and he was a little frustrated with it. But I would have been like, okay, I do this thing every week. Like I'm annoying. I would make sure he knows that I do this. But he said another person in the band, I think the Chip guy had like, was like, hey, you knucklehead or something, you know? Yeah. And so I'm like, no, I think they know. I think maybe Tommy Stinson, do you listen to this podcast?
You're welcome to come on.
Oh, yeah.
We'd love to have you.
I just sounded Canadian. Oh, yeah. What did I just do?
You're in a Canadian house, it spreads.
I guess that's so weird. It's like osmosis. That's super cool, Jeremy. That's so cool that I think he knows what he does.
That is amazing.
I wonder if he's impressed.
He ought to be. Got to look at my wide circle of friends.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't thought of the Lemonheads or Juliana Hatfield in 20 years.
Every time I hear Evan Dando's name, I'm always so happy to know that he's still alive.
Does it take you back to your girlhood days?
Evan Dando. Are you kidding me? I know a place. Yeah, he's super hot, and I'm always just happy to hear that he's alive. And Juliana Hatfield was so great. It was so great.
Did you hear the joke that Kurt Cobain played on Evan Dando?
No.
He thought Evan Dando was a bit of a fancy lad.
Okay.
Sort of a dandy.
Yeah.
So he called his, I forget who it was that he employed to do it, but they basically made Evan Dando think that Madonna was looking for him. It was just like, yeah, Madonna needs you to call her. Madonna wants to meet you. But apparently Dando was freaking out. Like, what do I do? How do I talk to her? Of course she wants to.
Also, why?
Yeah, they just let him go for days thinking that Madonna was hot for him until finally they're just like, no, you prick.
Oh, that's not nice.
Maybe he deserved it.
Somebody's gonna do that to me with Bill Burr.
Probably.
I don't fall. I'm so cynical and like, guys, I'm not really that serious about it. Okay, but I would just be like, no, he's not. No, he's not. I don't fall for shit like that.
Evil. You want to dress up like a douche?
Yeah. So our dressed up like a douche, and you guys, this is the last one I have for a while. I swear to God. Send us your personal misheard song lyrics or this segment goes away. But our dressed up like a douche is from, I don't even think she follows. She's a friend of a friend. But her name is Melanie Black, and the song Push It by Salt and Pepa. Instead of push it good, she thought they were saying pussy good. And I think a lot of us thought that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were aiming for.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And so for everyone who tuned in specifically to hear John Prine, you're welcome. This is the only dressed up like a douche I had. I usually try to like make them kind of match the song. So sorry if that was just a little dirty for you. But we don't care, do we?
No, we don't care at all.
We don't care. Guess what time it is? It is time to draw the next, and I just looked. I don't want to look like a cheater. They're on little balls anyway. To draw next month Patreon. Let's see who it is. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. It's Corban Gallagher. I'm so sorry. I know what he's going to make us do.
What's he going to make us do?
It's Gigi Allen.
Yeah.
We're doing Gigi Allen and the Murder Junkies at some time next month, and I might just force him to be, we like Corban on the podcast, right?
Absolutely.
I think he does a really good job. I might force him to just do this one with us.
God,
because
he's gonna force me to watch Gigi Allen videos.
God. Okay. There's some great story. There are some parts that I do want to talk about, some stories that he's told me about that I was like, okay, that's actually very interesting. But oh my God, it's Gigi Allen. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull that out so we don't ever draw him again. So, all right. Well, at least it's happening. He can stop bothering me about it. It happened fair and square. I drew your dang name. Right. I'm gonna have to remind me to pull that back out.
At least we have some strategies for staying out of our dark sides.
Okay. I'm glad that you're looking at this in a positive way. It'll be an interesting episode. It just shows how we're all over the place. We're going to go from John Prine to Gigi Allen. All right. But
stay tuned for some sweet sensitive types talking about poop and blood.
It's going to be so bad. Next week, I'm super excited about next week. We will be shifting format to more of an interview style because we will be, I hope you can hear me. We will be joined by Jeff Smith, who is the current tour guide at the legendary Sun Studio in Memphis.
Your new best friend.
I met him while doing a tour of Sun Studio, and I asked him if he'd be on the podcast, and he was super excited about it. Said he loves doing this. So he's going to talk about Sam Phillips and his start and how he fought passionately towards what became Sun Studio and the artists that helped him bring it to stardom. So that's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of different singers we're going to talk about, and I love hearing stories about Sam Phillips. He sounds great. And I'm going to tell you, out of all the tours that we did in Tennessee, I mean, we did Graceland, we did a lot of stuff. Me and Corban both agreed that the Sun Studio tour was kind of the coolest because the area where they recorded the songs, they have tape on the floor of like, this is where Elvis stood, this is where this guy stood. And none of it is like redone. I mean, the panels in the ceiling are the same ones that were there when Elvis recorded. The floor is the same floor. So you feel like and it's still a functioning studio. When you go to Graceland, like his house, it feels like kind of it's lovely, but a lovely corpse that you're walking through. No one lives there anymore. You know, it's just the house of a guy who no longer is alive. But Sun Studios still produces music. And so it's just a very different feeling. And it was very, very cool. So I'm excited. I think this is, it's going to be a nice change of scenery to talk to someone who actually knows what he's talking about.
That is going to be very new for you.
Yeah. He's an actual expert and we just talk about our dumb feelings. So I think this is going to be really cool. So tune in next week.
Looking forward to it.